Adrian Peterson is entering year 14 of an impressive Hall of Fame career. Peterson signed with the Detroit Lions over the weekend, what will be his fourth team in 4 years after playing for the Minnesota Vikings for 10 years. The 7-time All-Pro and former MVP is one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. The Vikings snagged the all-time great back at the 2007 NFL Draft, but who swung and missed on the 6 selections ahead of him? Before we jump into the video, I'd like to take a second to acknowledge that the majority of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel. Darren and I are both college students and hope to one day make this our full-time job. So please, if you do enjoy, consider subscribing and helping us on our journey here on YouTube. Thank you and enjoy the video. First, let's take a quick look at Adrian Peterson's rise to becoming one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. Adrian Lewis Peterson was born on March 21st, 1985 in Palestine, Texas. Peterson had the nickname AP from his initials, or All Day, given by his father because he would say that Adrian could go all day. His father, Nelson, was a shooting guard at Idaho State, and his mother, Bonita Brown, was a sprinter and long jumper at Houston. Peterson had a rough childhood to say the least. When Adrian was 7, he saw his older brother Brian get killed by a drunk driver. He dealt with his pain in sports, prompting an interest in football. Adrian's father was an assistant coach in his youth football program. That was before he was then arrested for money laundering in a cocaine ring. Craziness. Peterson attended Palestine High School where he played his first varsity season as a junior, racking in 2,051 yards and 22 touchdowns. He began to earn the attention of Division I recruiters and improved on his performance as a senior with 2,960 yards and 32 touchdowns. According to Rivals, Peterson was a 5-star recruit and the #1 recruit in the nation. He decided to commit to play college football at the University of Oklahoma. Peterson lived up to the high expectations early in his career at Oklahoma, rushing for a Big 12 best 1,925 yards, and at the Sooners, rushing for 2,116 yards and 26 touchdowns over the span. He was named first team All-Big 12 in each season. After his junior year, Peterson announced he would enter the 2007 NFL Draft. The Minnesota Vikings owned the 7th selection at the draft, opting to use it on Adrian Peterson. The rest, they would say, is history. Peterson rushed for 1,341 yards and 12 touchdowns en route to being named an All-Pro and winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Peterson ended up spending a long 10-year tenure in Minnesota, etching his name as a future Hall of Fame inductee. He was a 7-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, and of course, won MVP in 2012. Peterson led the league in rushing yards 3 times and rushing touchdowns twice. After his tenure in Minnesota, Peterson was signed by the Saints before being traded to the Cardinals during the season. He went on to sign with the Redskins in 2018, where he recently played 2 seasons before being released. Peterson quickly found a new home over the weekend, signing with the Lions for 2020. He currently owns the NFL record for rushing yards in a game with 296. Peterson, heading into year 14, has 14,216 yards and 111 touchdowns. The future Hall of Fame running back was a member of the 2010s All-Decade team, and somehow is still going strong. But how did the players taken ahead of him pan out? With the first overall pick at the 2007 NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders selected LSU quarterback Jamarcus Russell. Russell made a handful of appearances as a rookie, but spent almost all of the season as a backup before starting in the Raiders' final game. He recorded 224 yards, a touchdown, and an interception in the start, finishing the season with 373 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Head coach Lane Kiffin named Russell the starter after the 2007 season finale. Russell showed early promise in 2008, but ultimately just struggled. The Raiders went 5-10 under his guidance, and he passed for 2,423 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Russell retained the starting gig for 2009, but that lasted until he was benched indefinitely in favor of career journeyman Bruce Gradkowski. Even after Gradkowski was hurt, the Raiders then turned to Charlie Fry instead of Russell. Russell had 1,287 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions in 12 games. It was reported that Russell was up to 300 pounds the following offseason, up about 30 pounds from his initial 271. The Raiders opted to release Russell after only 3 seasons. Nobody claimed the first overall selection, and he has never returned back to the pros despite multiple comeback attempts. The Detroit Lions own the 2nd selection, where they took Georgia Tech wide receiver Calvin Johnson, or Megatron.
Peter, would you give this to the nurse?
Robots in disguise.
No introduction is needed for Johnson, who is a surefire Hall of Famer. Johnson started in 10 games as a rookie, recording 756 yards and 4 touchdowns en route to being named to the All-Rookie team. He went for 1,331 yards and a league-leading 12 touchdowns in his sophomore season. Ahead of the 2009 season, the Lions got a new quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Johnson recorded 984 yards and 5 touchdowns under his first season with Matt Stafford. After 2009, Johnson went on to make 6 straight Pro Bowls and was named an All-Pro 4 times. He also led the league in receptions once and in receiving yards twice. He had an impressive 8,548 yards and 62 touchdowns over the 6-year span. Johnson then decided to shockingly retire after 9 seasons in the league. Johnson was a member of the 2010s All-Decade team and owns the NFL record for receiving yards in a season with 1,964. And who could forget, he came in 3rd in Dancing with the Stars back in 2016.
I'm a scat man.
Third overall, the Cleveland Browns drafted Wisconsin offensive tackle Joe Thomas. Thomas joins Johnson as a surefire Hall of Fame option thanks to his dominance in the pros. The insane health and Ironman career of Thomas cannot be understated. He started in 167 straight games to the start of his career, beginning with his NFL debut in Week 1 as a rookie all the way to Week 7 of 2017 when he suffered a torn triceps that ended his season. Ahead of the year, Thomas had announced he had been experiencing early-stage memory loss, helping fuel the ultimate decision to retire ahead of the 2018 season. Thomas had an incredible career, starting with being named to the All-Rookie team and finishing 2nd behind Adrian Peterson for Rookie of the Year. Over 11 years, Thomas became the only lineman in NFL history to be named to 10 straight Pro Bowls, being named an All-Pro 8 times along the span. Thomas was a member of the 2010s All-Decade team, is a member of the Browns Ring of Honor, and is widely considered one of the greatest linemen in NFL history. Thomas now hosts the Tomahawk Show podcast with former Browns teammate Andrew Hawkins. Clemson defensive end Gaines Adams was taken 4th by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Adams was named to the All-Rookie team after playing in every game, recording 38 tackles and a rookie-best 6 sacks. He had an increased role in 2008, starting in every game for the Buccaneers with 38 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 2 interceptions. After starting in 5 games in 2009, Adams was traded to the Bears in exchange for a 2nd-round pick. He appeared in 10 games for the Bears as a role player. He had 17 tackles and a sack on the season. Adams' career was far from over, but he tragically passed away at the age of 26 on January 10, 2010. He died of cardiac arrest due to an unknown condition of an enlarged heart. With the 5th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals selected Penn State offensive tackle Levi Brown. Brown started in 11 games for the Cardinals before taking over as a full-time starter in 2008. He stayed healthy and started in every game for 4 straight seasons. His career then took a drastic turn in 2012 after he tore his triceps and spent the entire 2012 season on injured reserve. Brown returned in 2013 and in his first game back from injury gave up 3 sacks alone to Robert Quinn. Brown was traded to the Steelers during the season and only played in 5 games before being released in the offseason. He hasn't played in the NFL since. The Washington Redskins own the 6th selection, where they took LSU safety Laurent Landry. Landry came in and was a day 1 starter for the Redskins, starting in all 16 games and being named to the All-Rookie team after making 95 tackles and 1.5 sacks. He started at safety alongside All-Pro Sean Taylor, a combination that coined the nickname Area 51, based on the addition of Landry's number 30 and Taylor's 21. Late in the season, Taylor was tragically murdered in his Miami home, ending the Area 51 tandem after only 9 games. Landry started in all but 1 game for the Redskins over the next 2 seasons, recording 155 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 3 interceptions over the span. Landry started off the 2010 season playing at a Pro Bowl level, recording 85 tackles, a sack, and an interception over 9 games. His season then ended prematurely after he injured his Achilles tendon. He missed 8 games the following season, dealing with a hamstring injury, groin injury, and eventually getting surgery on his Achilles tendon. Landry signed a 1-year deal with the Jets and excelled, making his first Pro Bowl in 2012 after recording 100 tackles and 2 interceptions. Landry then signed a nice contract with the Colts and played in 23 games with 134 tackles and 2.5 sacks, but ended up being suspended for PEDs 3 times, resulting in an indefinite ban from the NFL. Finally, with the 7th selection at the 2007 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings took Oklahoma running back Adrian Peterson. Peterson is without a doubt a Hall of Famer, more than likely a first ballot. Astonishingly, there were 2 future Hall of Famers taken ahead of him in Calvin Johnson and Joe Thomas. And by the way, Peterson is the only one still playing. That being said, the other 4 teams that whiffed sure would love to go back and take Peterson, especially the Raiders. Jamarcus Russell, man, what a pick.